As long as you have $1 million in the bank and a Harvard MBA, you might be qualified to own a franchise business. Give me a break! To find out what it takes to be qualified to own a franchise, stay right here. Feeling qualified to own a franchise versus are you qualified to own a franchise? Those are like two different questions, aren't they? So let's talk first about what it takes to be qualified to own a franchise, and then we'll address the feelings. So in order to be qualified to own a franchise, of course, every franchise that you look at will have its own qualifications, mostly centered around financial qualifications, right? So do you have enough money? The qualifiers typically are a liquid asset requirement and a net worth requirement. And those will vary from franchise to franchise depending on what the franchise requires. So for example, if you're investing in a franchise that does not require a location, maybe it's a home-based business, and maybe you don't have any product inventory to carry, so there's not a lot of physical assets or stuff, a franchise like that may not have a net worth requirement. They may have a liquid asset requirement because it does take cash to open a business. You got to be able to pay the franchise fee, and you need some working capital to get out there in your community and drum up some business, right? But it won't necessarily have a net worth requirement. The net worth requirement in other types of businesses, such as those that do require a physical location or do require that you get terms for leases on equipment or trucks or other assets inventory, that net worth requirement is typically set to ensure that the franchisor can get you a good lease or can get you terms from the vendors or from the leasing companies. So the franchisor is going ahead of you, understanding the potential challenges that you're going to come up against. And so they're asking you to be qualified in order to even go down the path of exploring their franchise. So that's the benefit, right, of partnering with a franchise. They've been there, they know what it's going to take. So before you even begin going down that path and falling in love with the franchise, they want to know upfront, do you have what it takes financially to be qualified? So that's probably the biggest qualification. And to really understand, are you qualified? I have to say this, you probably have to work with somebody like me. You probably need an experienced franchise consultant. I mean, certainly you can go to a franchisor directly and find out what their requirements are, but that's a lot of time and effort spent in trying to figure out what franchisors require versus making one call or sending one email to me. And then I get to know you and I can get you pre-qualified like that because I know what different franchisors require. And I can align what you're trying to accomplish with your financial capabilities very quickly with what different franchisors require. So that's going to be, am I qualified financially? Are there other qualifications that franchisors may be looking for? I mean, certainly, do you live in an area that's viable for a particular franchise? So, different franchisors require different population demographics. Every franchisor has its own definition of what makes an area viable in terms of population density or demographics, like average household income, right? If you're in a business that deals with pets, the population may be in pet population, right? So the franchisor wants to award you a territory that is viable, that will work. They don't want to award you a territory where there's not enough people or dogs to make that territory work and work successfully. So there's money, so there's territory viability, skill set requirements. I mean, most franchisors will tell you that they are not looking for you to come with industry experience or any special skills. Some require, like if you have a franchise that requires a nurse practitioner or a doctor to be on the payroll, that's a really expensive employee. So it often helps for the owner of the business to be said employee, even though it may just be your license that has to be in the business, like like a med spa, right? It's not that you're going to be working in the business. It's just that we need a doctor's license on the payroll, right? But most franchise businesses do not require special skill. So there's really no skill set requirement. But this is going to kind of parlay into the second half of this question, am I qualified? Do you feel qualified? Because there's a lot of misconceptions out there from candidates that they feel like if I can't do the job, then I can't own the business. And that is totally untrue. Yes, you have to be a good manager of people. You have to believe that you can find good employees and keep those good employees, and that you can manage those good employees through culture and through incentives and through your leadership so that they will be inspired to do their job. But franchisors in general are not looking for you to have any special skill. If they did require you to have a special skill, then they would say that. If they're not saying that, then I need and want you to take that qualification out of your mind. I see so many candidates limit their search for business opportunities to what they can do. And that is really, really limiting. I also see candidates limit their potential about a franchise because they believe they can't find enough good people like that. You know, in the moment that we're in 2022, employee retention is a thing. Like, a lot of franchisors are really doubling down and focusing on helping their franchise owners find good employees and come up with creative ways to keep good employees. I have a residential cleaning company that recently added in healthcare benefits. So now their franchisees can use healthcare benefits as a way to attract a higher caliber candidate for that job. So when you're in a franchise, you're not out there all on your own trying to figure out how to make yourself competitive or how to find those good employees or how to keep those good employees. Now, you are the leader of your organization. You are the leader of these people. It is your job to find the people ultimately and to retain those people. That is the role that you, as the CEO of your business, will play in almost every business. But there's a lot of strategy and a lot of focus right now from franchisors on helping you do that job well. I want you to feel qualified. If you have the dream in your heart to own your future, if you have the dream in your heart to build cash flow that you own and can control, to wake up every day in a business that inspires you instead of punching a clock or working for somebody in a job that you don't really enjoy. If you feel ready for this change in your life, you have a dream of your future that you look at and say, I can't get there doing what I'm doing if what you're doing is working for somebody else. And the only way to really get to that outcome is to be self-employed, is to own your future and your time, then you are qualified, and I want you to feel qualified. I want you to be confident. This is also part of why the Daily Coach has a business. You don't have to know what you need to know in order to say yes to this dream to own a franchise business. You're not out there on your own figuring this out. You don't have to select the right business for you. You don't have to know if it's viable in your backyard. You don't have to know if you're qualified. You come to me, my services are free, and allow me the opportunity to use my experience, my background, my skills, and my knowledge to match opportunity to your dreams, taking all of those unknowns off the table right away, and then introducing you to franchisors that are my friends. These are people that I've been in business with for 20 years now. So taking the guesswork out of which franchisor is the best qualified or which franchisor is the right one for me to be partnered with. You don't have to figure that out when you work with me. I can do that. So the point of this video is, are you qualified to own a franchise? I'm showing you all the different ways that you do not have to worry about, am I qualified? When you work with a consultant, there are things we have to consider, but there are things that I think candidates think they have to consider that really you don't have to consider. Some of those things that you're worried about, let it be my worry. Let me help you in this process. Let me help you build your confidence by taking you through a due diligence process that will make you feel competent, that you've asked the right questions, you've thought about the right things, you've talked to the right people, you've done all that you could do to get you to this moment where now it's time to say yes. And when you're in that place to say yes, you will not only feel competent in this decision that you are about to make, but you will feel 100% qualified to make it. If you are ready to feel qualified to say yes to your dreams, then I want to be your daily coach. Please contact me today using the email on the screen. And if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please don't forget to like and subscribe and then ring that notification bell.